Hi guys, this is LynBruv back with another vlog. So we just decided to go to the botanical gardens just to walk around and just to catch some fresh air, I guess. Anyways, what I want to talk about today, I want to talk about how if you really want to achieve what you want to achieve, then sometimes you have to say no to the critics, because they might have ideas for your life. They might say, oh, go to college, do certain things, because we've seen other people achieve success in those paths, but that's in the past, right? So the world is changing all the time. New things are being discovered every day, every month, every year. Because we're progressing so fast, the definition of success keeps changing, right? So no one's going to make the next Facebook again. No one's going to make the next Tesla again, or no one's going to invent the light bulb again, because every time you try to achieve something new, it's always new, and no one can teach you how to think. No one can teach you how to innovate. They can just teach you the mindset of innovation, but they can't really teach you how to innovate, because new things, new ideas come out of inspiration and context. So you might have to work in industry for a couple of years. You might have to learn new skills and do new things just to gain the context of whatever you're actually trying to make. So sometimes you have to work in the industry just to figure out what it is, the problems are in the industry, and to figure out the pain points in the industry. So you have to work a couple years before you venture out, before you figure out what you actually want to do and what inventions you have in mind. So the reason why school was invented was because school was made to train you how to become a good employee, right? It trains you how to work well for a company, which is valuable if you want to go to an actual big company. But if you want to venture off and start your own thing, you have to start your own thing, right? You just start it, and you're only gonna get experience when you actually do it, right? The naysayers are always gonna say, you can't do this and you can't do that. The thing is, you have to ignore those naysayers. You have to ignore the negativity, because there are always going to be those kind of people that tell you that you can't achieve certain things, right? The hardest thing is when they're the people that are closest to you, when they tell you that you can't actually achieve something, and they're the people that are closest to you. It hurts, right? But sometimes you just have to put your head down, work for a couple of years, and then keep working, keep hustling, keep working until something does become fruitful, because eventually someone's going to be right. Either they're going to be right or you're going to be right, but you're never going to know who's going to be right if you don't try at all, right? So if they say you can't do it and you stop at that point because they say you can't do it, then you're never going to know whether or not if you would have actually achieved what you set out to achieve, right? So you see these trees, they took a long time to grow, right? When people tell you that you're a failure and they don't see any success straight away, just tell them that a tree used to be as little but a seed, right? So a seed at the moment doesn't become a tree straight away, right? But it doesn't make it any less perfect, right? So, and it takes years for a tree to grow. So your success that you have at the moment, the success that you want to build for your future, that will manifest within years, right? And you know, the saying goes, Rome wasn't built overnight, right? So your success won't be built overnight either, right? Neither is mine, so I'm still on that path. Even before you reach that stage of success, you have to have the mentality of success. So maybe you see yourself 10 years down the track, 20 years down the track, you see that you will achieve something great. But you have to vision that for yourself, because there's going to be times when things are hard and things just push you down. But if you don't have that vision, if you don't have that mindset, then you're just going to be pushed down to the ground, and you're just going to be pushed down to the ground. You're gonna lack the motivation. Every time you get pushed down to the ground, always ask yourself the question, why did I start this for? You know, and forgot what the saying was, but there's a saying where you're attacking a country, right? You're on a couple of ships and your army is on a couple of ships, right? But you're outnumbered by, like, say, 1,000,000 to 1, right? So how do you defeat that big ass army, right? Well, you burn the ships, because you give yourself no way out, and you're forced to actually take action. Because a lot of people that have ideas, that have big visions, they want to achieve certain things, right? But what prevents them is, oh, I need to learn more, or I need to study more, or I need to do this more, I need to be smart, I'm not smart enough, right? I don't have the knowledge, I don't have, you know, like you'll gain the knowledge along the way, but the only way to know if you need that knowledge is if you make a mistake and you fail in the first time, because you don't know what you don't know, right? And you only figure out what you don't know until, like, when you actually meet that obstacle, right? So what burning the boats does is it forces you to take action. Once you take action, then you essentially get into roadblocks along the way, and those roadblocks happen, and then that's when you learn. That's when you figure out, oh, I made a mistake. Now I know what I didn't know, right? So now I'm going to learn about it, figure out how can I improve my situation and do better next time, right? As long as you're keeping on improving and keep on improving and improving, right? If you keep doing the same mistakes, then that's another story. Like, sure, it might take you a while to learn certain things, but if you keep on making the same mistakes over and over again, it means you're not learning, right? So, yeah, you have to continuously make mistakes. And that's the thing. In school, they teach you, oh, if you're not an A student, then you're a failure, right? If you've failed in this subject, then you're never going to become successful, right? So they teach people how to, like, school teaches you how to be fearful of failure, right? And it actually teaches you how to be a good employee, because, we don't want our employees to fail, right? But when you're doing something new, you're venturing out, you have to fail, because you have to learn from your mistakes. That's how you learn. Like, when you're learning how to spell, your handwriting wasn't that good, right? And I remember in primary school we had this thing called pen licenses, where we couldn't get the pen license until we were actually very good at writing in cursive writing, right? In pencil. So we could only use pen if we were really good, but we had to make mistakes along the way, right? So that's essentially how you learn, right? You make mistakes and you learn from your mistakes, right? But school teaches you how to be fearful of mistakes. They said that our generation, like the millennials, right? I read this article online, and it said that millennials are actually the most entrepreneurial in terms of mindset, right? But they're actually the generation to least likely venture out and make their own venture, because they're afraid to fail. And why is that? The reason why they're afraid to fail is because they were taught in school that, C's and D's were bad, right? That failure was detrimental, right? Right. In certain cases, failure is detrimental. Like, something wrong might happen, and an accident might happen. Those failures you don't want to commit, right? But that's the reason why the large failures that you don't want to commit, you practice with smaller failures, so that you don't commit those bigger failures, right? Those smaller failures that you commit in life will make you resilient enough, and will teach you how not to make those big failures, right? The small failures will allow you to give you the skills to not fail when the stakes are high, right? For example, when you're learning how to drive, right, you're not gonna go to the freeway straight away without learning the basic skills, because your risk of failing is much higher, and your risk of getting into an accident is much higher. And that's why you go to the side roads. That's why you go to the roads, the small roads, to practice and to fail small, so that you build up the skill, so that when you build up the skill, and when you go into the bigger roads, then the chances of failure, the risk is much higher, right? But the chances of failure, you mitigate those chances of failure, because you train yourself to, you educate yourself on how to drive properly, right? That's the same thing with, say, taking risk in business, right? They say starting a venture, starting a business is risky. Investing in real estate is risky. It's risky because people lack the knowledge on how to do it, and that's why they don't know what they're doing, and then they don't know how to mitigate the risk, right? But if they learn how to, so it's pretty much gambling, right? When they invest, because they don't know what they're doing, and they're just hoping and wishing that it all works out. But if they educate themselves about investing, then they'd figure out, oh, so I know, like they learn from past mistakes, they learn techniques and tricks from other people, they learn from other people's mistakes, they reduce their risk, and it becomes investing instead of gambling, right? Yeah. So, but the thing is, with education, right, you do need education, you do need theory, and you need the practical as well. Like the people that say that, oh, you have to jump in, do it straight away, and get practice. The thing is, they're learning by learning from their own mistakes, right? But there's a saying, it's good to learn from your mistakes, but it's better to learn from someone else's mistakes, right? So that you don't make the same mistakes, right? So that's what the theory is for, that's what education is for. Education is to teach you, like, say, for example, you read books, right? It condenses all the information to like a 200-page book, and that may have taken the author or the writer like a couple of years just to write that book, right? So it condenses the information down to a small amount which you can consume, and then you don't have to spend, instead of spending 10 years accumulating all that knowledge, you just spent 1 year or less than that to accumulate the knowledge. So you condense the information, right? So that's where theory comes in, but you still have to apply it. You still have to practice what you preach, and you have to apply it, because that's when your bones and your muscles and your muscle memory, that's where you understand it physically, right? It's kind of like when you're weightlifting, right? You can read books about weightlifting or watch tutorials on weightlifting, how to have the perfect posture so you don't break your back, right? How to do deadlifts properly so you don't break your lower back, right? But you'll only ever learn how to properly do it with your own body type and your own, because everyone has a different body, right? You only learn how to do it with your body if you actually do it physically, right? So you need both theory, you need both practicality, but if you just stay on the theory side, then that's not good either. Yeah. So you need both, but the thing is but you'll learn you'll learn a lot faster if you actually apply it and do it, right? So, but you need to combine the both. You need to combine the theory and the knowledge, and you need to combine the practicality. The thing is, when someone tells you that you can't achieve something because maybe they failed in life before, and this is usually what happens, right? Something happened to them in the past, and they say, oh, this happened to me in the past, so don't try it because I failed in the past. And because they created their own failures, right? And it was them that failed. They try to impose it on you that you can't achieve it because they didn't achieve it, and for them they say that it's impossible, right? But the only reason why that happens is because they stopped at that point. When they failed, they stopped and didn't try again, right? And it may have been a traumatic experience for them, right? But the people that aren't used to the traumatic experiences or the people that aren't used to those situations give up and never try again. If you had adversity in your life, right? If you had pressure in your life, right? Every time you have a new level of pressure, you're always going to grow and get better and better and better and better, right? It's kind of like a muscle. When you weight train and lift a certain weight, every time you increase that weight, your muscles grow bigger, so long as you're giving yourself the right nutrients and all that, right? Now it's the same thing with coping with stress and everything else, right? Now, the people that get traumatized and they fail and then they never try again, they're the type of people that had it easy for them, right? easy for them growing up. They had everything, and then they haven't felt any adversity. They haven't felt any adversity in their life. So what ends up happening is when they suddenly feel that burst of pressure on them, right? They collapse, and then they can't take it because they've never built that coping mechanism to be able to cope with the pressure, right? But the people that have been through adversity before, it's easy for them to handle it because it's kind of like, oh, this is nothing for me because I've had much worse happen to me, right? You have to have some of that in your life. It's sort of like growing pains, right? It's what you call growing pains. Like you're growing, but it's painful, but you're growing, right? And I think that's one reason why millennials nowadays, they're not willing to do things that is difficult. They're not willing to do the difficult stuff. It's because they've never experienced the hardship before, or they've never experienced any hardship because the generation before them provided everything for them, and then they became complacent, and now they want everything straight away, and they want everything given to them on a platter. And then when they fail and when nothing happens, right, they say, oh, I'm going to give up because nothing's happening. There's no progress. There's nothing's happening, right? And yeah, that's like Gary Vee. He says that like wait for the next 10 or so years, right? Because you have to wait. Yeah, you know, like how long does it take to study a degree, right? It takes 4 years. If you can wait 4 years to study a degree, why not use that patience to start a business or to achieve something greater? Like, you won't achieve anything great if you don't aim high, right? If you aim high and you miss that point, then you might still achieve something that's a bit lower than that, but at least you still achieved something than nothing, right? It's better than nothing. Yeah. So that's my vlog for today. I hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe if you want more content, and comment down below what you want me to talk about as well. And if you have any questions, comment that down below as well. And I'll see you guys next time.